MyCounselor.Online. I'm Cassie, and today I get to interview one of our awesome therapists, September Trent, about her recent article, Disordered Thinking Patterns. So thank you for meeting with me today, September.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So your article, who did you have in mind when you wrote this article?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really had teenagers in mind for this.
Okay.
Just because I think a lot of times, obviously with teenagers, they're not always thinking about their thinking patterns.
Yes.
It's about like if they could identify when they're thinking negatively, the ways they were doing that, that'd be so helpful to them. But these concepts can also be relatable to anyone as well.
Yes. I definitely saw myself in there, even though I got the feel that you were writing for teenagers.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I do that. And
Yeah.
maybe I do that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was really good. It was helpful to me. You started off your article talking about this made-up girl, Maddie, who you kind of go through your day, her morning actually, and talk about how first she woke up late and then she was all stressed and then she was trying to put on her makeup in the car, and how even though it was just a few things that had gone cattywampus and even some things were going well, because of her disordered thinking patterns, it was hard for her to engage the good things.
Yeah.
She could only engage the negative things, and that seemed to spiral for her. So you talk through some of those things, and I thought they were really interesting. And for those watching, you have to go read this article because there's a whole list of these disordered thinking patterns, and September fleshes out and explains them in the article. But for our purpose of our video today, I just want to talk about a handful of them. So tell us about mind reading. What might that look like? And give us an example.
Yeah, definitely. So that's basically what that is when you are with someone, you think about what they're thinking about, even though they haven't communicated that to you.
Okay.
So, for example, maybe with a teenager, you walk into school and you see people looking at you, and so automatically what you think is something's wrong with my hair or my makeup, and none of these students have said anything to you about it. And so you are mind reading, you are thinking about what they are thinking about. You are trying to figure out what that is. Maybe for a different audience, maybe that's with your spouse. You try something on in the morning and they kind of give you a look and you think, okay, they must think I look fat in this. And they haven't said anything at all. And so that might color your day of how you with them. And if you would actually ask your spouse, they might have just said something, oh, I saw something on the wall, or I was looking at what I was looking at for the day, and it totally messed everything up. So
oh my gosh. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about minimizing.
Yeah, with minimizing, that is where maybe something good or positive has happened to you that day, but then you totally say that, okay, that doesn't matter. So for example, maybe you're in school and you got an A+ on this test, you got 100%, but you say, oh, that was just because the teacher feels sorry for me, or something like that, or I just had a really good day, or that's my best subject, but I'm not good at math. You don't really look at the good aspect of something that's really good happening to you.
Yeah, like not taking time to celebrate or appreciate the actual good pieces in your life.
Yeah.
And that are part of you, not just that are happening to you, but that are an attribute of who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. These are challenging.
Yeah. That's why it's so important to label what they are and just really look for them in your thinking patterns. Because if you notice that you're doing any one of these, it's probably happening almost every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And what an effect that has on our whole day.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned that like vignette in the beginning with Maddie, because that's so relatable to so many people. Just one thing happens, you wake up late, and then your whole morning you've thought negatively about it. You've already decided it's going to be a bad day. When if you can just look at, okay, I woke up late, it doesn't have to be a bad day. I can change my mindset to make my day the way I want it to be.
And I love that you're giving tools to help us take hold of that, to say, no, now I'm engaging in minimizing. It's okay. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
So talk about perfectionism.
Yeah, that's something I hear about all the time. And that's if you don't do something 100%, something that you consider to be perfect, then you're not good enough. And people's definition of perfectionism could be a little bit different, where someone's is, I have to get 100% on all my tests, otherwise I'm not good enough, I didn't work hard enough. Other people, it may be, I have to please this person, I have to meet their expectation. And so if it's not up to these actually unrealistic standards, then they haven't done good enough. And so the thing about this disordered thinking pattern is, if you struggle with it, you've already set yourself up for failure, because nobody's perfect. We can't get 100% on a test. We can't always please somebody. We can't meet everybody's standards. And so we really have to break that down and make those realistic standards. Sure, we want 100% on a test, but we shouldn't have to get that or get a 4.0 to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah. I feel like that's a whole nother article and video for a different day.
Maybe I should write something like that.
That's a big concept, and I feel like it affects us. I don't consider myself a perfectionistic person, and yet I can still see tendencies in my life in that, and how much that weighs us down to put that pressure on ourselves.
And most people that struggle with perfectionism, everyone, it's on themselves. I mean, maybe they've had some influence in that, but it's really because of this influence they've made these standards for themselves, and they're very hard on themselves when it's just needing some help with breaking that down. And you're right, it could be a whole nother article, because that is a huge piece.
Well, that sounds good. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, thanks for meeting with me today, September. And like I said, there is a whole list in her article, and she talks through, she points out Maddie and what Maddie's thinking, and breaks that down into what it is. So it's really helpful. I highly encourage, people of all ages to check it out, because like we talked about, September, everybody struggles with these disordered thinking patterns. So thank you for meeting with me today, and thank you for writing this article. And if you want to see more articles from September or anybody from the rest of our awesome team, you can check them out at MyCounselor.Online.